Ah, the great outdoors. There's really nothing quite like it. Staring out into the endless snowy expanse, the sparkling stars in the sky, Oh my. Alright, so maybe the great outdoors isn't all that it's cracked up to be, but that doesn't mean we can't find some beauty in this frigid heck hole. After all, to live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in that suffering.
Who said that? Nietzsche. He's a 19th century philosopher from Germany.
And assuming that that's all true, we need to start finding some meaning pronto. If not, what's the point in jumping off of a cliff to avoid a rabid moose, or munching on dog food and old granola bars all day? Brushes with death and split-second decisions are great for a quick thrill, but these moments need to be balanced out by peaceful interludes and introspective pauses in order to truly feel purposeful. Finding meaning requires more than a masochistic exercise in anguish, and if we can look past the material and delve into the abstract, perhaps we'll find the answers that we're looking for. And that's what we're here to do today. So come with me, as we wade through the windy corridors and submit to our shared struggle, positing this perplexing postulation. What are the best shelters in the long dark? All right, so our first stop is a place called Bricklayer's Retreat. Bricklayer's Retreat is located in the Black Rock region of Great Bear, and it's just a nice little cabin on the lake. Just super quaint, very peaceful. It's a great spot for like a landscape painting, I think. I think Bob Ross would have a great time painting the happy trees and the, whatever else he was painting in those landscape paintings. The happy trees and the smiley lakes and the jubilant mountains. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. We got a nice little fishing spot here. Of course, it's the winter time, so you're probably not going to do a lot of fishing. You'd have to bring some tools to cut a hole in the ice, and even then, we don't even really know if this is like if it's deep enough for ice fishing. It might just be frozen all the way to the bottom. We got a nice little coal bin over here. We got the workbench, so we can craft some things, some items, some tools, whatever useful accessories we need for our stay here at the Bricklayer's Retreat. Very large dock here. I don't know why the dock is so big. I don't think it's really a detriment to the Bricklayer's Retreat. It just seems like more dock than you really need. You're a long way from any sort of civilization out here. You can't like make a quick run to the store if you need a can of beans, a pack of beef jerky, or a lemon wedge, a lemon slice. But still a beautiful view out here, Bricklayer's Retreat. So let's see what's going on inside of the cabin. So we got a nice little fireplace. We got a decent amount of storage. We got our cupboards over there. We've got like a hatch where we can store more things. We've even got a little bookshelf, or not even a bookshelf, just a bog standard shelf that you could stack whatever you want on there. The world is your oyster when it comes to this bookshelf. There's no chair. It's kind of like where would you read a book or whatever? Like, where are you going to read that newspaper? There's no comfy chair or anything where you could just post up by the fireplace and read your little book for a while. Your fishing magazine, your ice fishing magazine. We got a pretty unfortunate bed situation here. You would think that in a place like this, you would have a warmer bed. You just kind of got like a cushion with a blanket, and that's it. This place, it doesn't seem very well insulated. It's probably pretty drafty. I would think that you would want something a little more substantial in terms of your sleeping arrangement, especially considering, the tundra outside. It doesn't seem like you'd be very well prepared for the weather that you'd have to deal with here at the Bricklayer's Retreat. It's a little empty, but, that could be a good thing. You can customize it however you would please. You've got some options there. It might take a little bit of time, but I think it would be rewarding when it's all done. Anyways, let's go back outside. Take in the view. They say that home is what you make of it. For some people, work is their home. They let it consume them because it's a place where they're needed and they have something to do. And as the days turn into months, their living space remains only a domicile, a place to rest their head before waking up and returning to where they are needed. What happens to the bricklayer's retreat when the bricks are all laid and the work is all done? If it isn't their home, I suppose they leave. After all, who would want to live in an empty shack with nothing to look at but the fireplace and the surrounding stunning landscape? But where some people see emptiness, others see opportunity. The chance to spend their days working with their hands and creating something uniquely their own. And that's what I see when I look at the bricklayer's retreat. Instead of a void of crushing solitude, I see negative space to be filled with what makes me feel seen, to let the world know I was here, which is why I think this is a great place to take a deep breath and have a cup of coffee. All right, so that was the Bricklayer's Retreat. That was a nice little spot. It was like kind of cozy. A great lake location. I'm sure if it ever warms up over here, this would be a great place to go inner tubing or water skiing or whatever lake stuff you like to do. But our next stop is a place called the Bleak Inlet Cannery. Last episode we were at Bleak Inlet, but at the lighthouse. But this time we're gonna go to a little bit of a different location where they used to can up fish to be distributed throughout the rest of the region. Doesn't that sound exciting? Don't answer that. I promise it's better than what it sounds like. Okay, so the Bleak Inlet Cannery. Let's go there now. Wowee, look at this place, folks. Doesn't it look great? It doesn't look that great, does it? Well, that's kind of the thing about the long dark is that you kind of have to make the most out of what's lying in front of you. It's not always the comfiest situation. So yeah. Anyways, this is the cannery section. There's cool little jungle gym that you can sort of climb around and access some pretty unique spots here at the Bleak Inlet Cannery, but that's not what we're going to get into today. And just look at that Bleak Inlet view. There's a lot of great views here in the long dark. Oh, and look, there's the lighthouse from the last episode. There's a lot of great views here in the long dark, and this happens to be my favorite of the Bleak Inlet region. I just like how there's just a lot of open space. I think and the contrast of the blue ice and the red buildings, it's very striking. Anyways, let's go inside and see what's going on inside the Bleak Inlet Cannery. Seems to be like the staff area, the break room, perhaps. If you worked at the cannery, this is where you would come to eat lunch, or there's some benches and a sink over here and stuff. Now the bed situation is even worse than the Bricklayer's Retreat. I mean, we thought that was bad. This one's just a flannel blanket on top of some cardboard. That's not where you want to be sleeping at all. But anyways, this is the break room section. I think this is what kind of makes it feel a little bit more like a living space. You got the benches, you got the sink over there, and some lockers to store your things if you have any. Maybe you just got here and you're looking for anything you can find. God bless you. If that's the situation you're in, couldn't be me. A little bit of a boring corner over here. We'll call that corner the boring corner. But yeah, you're just if you're just one person, you're probably not going to need this many picnic benches. So you could break those down into some usable firewood. And so that's a nice little aspect of this shelter here. And you got some oatmeal and a frying pan. It's not like you're not getting anything. There are some items and some tools for the taking here. It's just not everything you're gonna need, but a frying pan. I'll take a frying pan in the middle of a snow desert, if you know what I'm saying. And, you know, the windows, the windows, I don't think they're just open. They're exposed. They're just like no glass on these windows, it seems to me. Again, which seems like an oversight, especially like in a location so close to the ocean. Just getting stray droplets of sea over in the break room, like constantly. There's not a ton to scavenge around here, but you know, if you're in a pinch, it's pretty good. Now let's find ourselves a nice little coffee spot. I think this will do right here. The beauty of an abandoned space is amplified or perhaps entirely reliant on one's own imagination. A deserted canning line evokes the image of a humming workspace with coworkers palling around and cracking jokes on the floor. A vacant ship summoning the specter of a captain brimming with pride as he brings his haul into port, returning from their domain satisfied with a job well done. Only in your imagination can these worlds exist free from the grit and grime of reality. A fisherman with his lips unchapped and all his digits intact, or a dock worker with a smile on her face excited to get the job done. We know that reality is much more cruel and unforgiving, but my imagination is all I have to remember this place, and so a rosy memory it shall remain. Which is why, to me, this is a nice place to stop and think and have some coffee. Wowee, that was pretty cozy for an abandoned little spot, eh, gang? That's how I'm going to refer to you guys now. A gang? It's like the A gang, the A team, but we're a gang. Anyways, so yeah, that was the Bleak Inlet Cannery. So you know that place was pretty nice. You know, again, it's not really about the amenities in your shelters in the long dark. It's what you can make out of them. It's about how you can use your imagination to make this place feel more like home. But anyways, our next stop is in a place called Forlorn Muskeg, and it's going to be the Spencer family farmstead. The Spencer family farmstead is it's really a plot of land with an abandoned little shelter, you know. So what else is new, right, guys? Add another one to the pile, am I right? But yeah, I think you know, we're gonna go over there and we're going to make the most of it. So yeah, Spencer family farmstead. Let's go there now. So here we are, the Spencer family farmstead. So yeah, I mean the Spencer family farmstead, again, it's a rickety old shack next to what used to be a farm. So now it's just kind of an empty plot of land, and you know, we could work with that. Am I right, gang? A gang? Anyways, so look at this lakeside view, this Muskeg side view. You know, pretty nice. Hey, I hope you like mountains, because there are a bunch of them. Now, a muskeg is sort of a marshland, and I wouldn't blame you for noticing that, because it's all frozen over. It's just a big old tundra out here. A lot of the same. But you know, if you look a little bit closer, you might see some differences that stand out to you. We got some a deer population over here. So, you know, if you have some hunting tools, you can definitely stay a little while. Once you get inside, there's more to it than meets the eye, that's for sure. You know, we got a nice little furnace over here, so you can, like, if you get it real hot, get a bunch of coal. You can melt down some scrap metal and make some tools, like a hatchet or some arrowheads, something that'll help you in the long haul. Now, of course, it is going to be a bit drafty in here, you know. Aside from the fact that it is just an open barn, the walls, they look like they're in disrepair here. I feel like it wouldn't hurt to, you know, maybe get some extra pieces of scrap wood and patch up some of those holes. I think it'll help with some of those longer winter nights. You know, it's small, but it's sufficient. It gives you what you need. And look, under here, you got a little hidey hole, where, you know, we got some tools and some more firewood, and a little bedroll. So that's nice. It's more than you can ask for in terms of what you get from a lot of structures here in the Long Dark. And to be honest, the sleeping spot, it's not too bad. The fact that it's so far away from the fire or from the furnace means that on colder nights you might just want to, lay a bedroll on the ground. But at the very least you get this nice little view here. I suppose another downside is it seems like a wolf or a bear could just stroll right on in here. You might want to keep your food maybe in that locked locker over there. But quite frankly, I don't know. I wouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't feel very safe leaving my food out here at all. Yeah, we got a little locker here, but still, I think that even if you put your food in the locker, and the bear comes sniffing for the food in the locker, it's like the bear's already in your house, man. But I can't get over how nice this view is over here. All the trees and the muskeg, and it's really just a nice section of it. It doesn't feel very swampy. It feels like it feels like you're kind of tucked away in a nice little section of the woods over here. And this seems like as good a spot as any as the fog rolls in. From the ashes of a burned down farmstead rises a shelter that provides what is needed in this new world. A workbench to make the weapons, to hunt the creatures, to make the clothes. A furnace to create the tools, to harvest the fuels for the fires that keep us warm. We don't know what the old Spencer farm used to grow or make. Those details are irrelevant to us now. But what we do know is that the bones of this place remain and are still of use to a weary traveler lost in a region devoid of life and hospitality. It may not look like much, but to a drowning man, even a piece of driftwood can act as a life preserver. And in a frozen marsh, a rickety old shack can still contain a spark of life, which is why I think this is a great place to loosen up and have a bit of coffee. Wowee, what a cozy little spot, eh, gang? So that was nice. That was a nice little pit stop, a little place to recharge and soak in a little bit of atmosphere, if you ask me. And so that brings us to our final stop of the day, which is going to be the real tippy top, the apex, the top part of the Timberwolf Mountain. There's a little bit of a story to the journey of Timberwolf Mountain, which we'll get into when we get there. So yeah, Timberwolf Mountain. Let's go there now. Oh, woo-wee, what a climb. That one took me a while, folks, but we're here. We made it. The tippy top of Timberwolf Mountain. Now, it's hard to ignore the grim implications of, what happened on the top of Timberwolf Mountain. But we'll get to that. I think we've earned it. We can drink in the view. We can, enjoy the scenic overlook of, the top of the mountain. That's the thing about the top of a mountain. You're at the top, so everything around you is going to be, it's going to be down, and that'll give you a nice bird's eye view. We all love a bird's eye view on this channel, and that's what you get from Timberwolf Mountain. And I'm sure we'll have a few bird's eye views at this location. Beautiful sunny day, you love to see it, and here's. This is actually the shelter, the tail section of the airplane up here in Timberwolf Mountain. But before we get to that, let's go check out this section of the apex. We'll get a nice little view, a nice little side bird's eye view, a bird's side view. And we can drink in the journey that we had to go through to get here. So, yep, here's the view section of the bird side view of the Timberwolf Mountain. And look at that. Look at how far we've come. You can't help but just feel a little sense of accomplishment looking out across these these winding rivers that turn into waterfalls, and the gorge and of which we climbed up from to one of those prepositions. But let's make our way over to the tail section. This is where we've built our home, our shelter. This is where we stay. There's also a little cave section on the other side, which, to be fair, you could dry hides. You could dry animal hides out there, but there's no workbench up here anyway. So there's not really any purpose to doing that. I think the tail section, it's closer to the supplies and it feels a little more like home. And so, yes, look at here, the tail section. It's not much, but again, we can make it feel like a home if you put a little bit of effort into it. It's mostly just a bunch of storage crates, which when you loot them, there's various types of foods and coffees and tools and frozen articles of clothing, which you can rip up into cloth and use for whatever your heart desires, within reason, of course. But it's a little cold and hostile. There's no furniture, which is very disappointing. I was able to catch Timberwolf Mountain on a nice day, but clear weather is actually pretty rare up here. It's usually quite foggy, if nothing else. Tend to get a lot of storms and blizzards, inclement weather of that sort. But of course, there's no shortage of firewood or prepackaged meals and such. So you can kind of make the most out of what you got. And here's the view. What else can you say? This is the original bird's eye view, not the bird's side view. It's the bird's eye. This is the front facing eye, not the bird side eye. The apex of Timberwolf Mountain is a bittersweet experience. The slow, winding ascent tests not just your patience, but your will to survive. The packs of wolves and errant bear sightings are made even more difficult by the transient blizzards and dense fog. Reaching the top of Timberwolf Mountain will tax your health and your ever-dwindling resources, so you would suspect that finally traversing this beast would be a shining moment of triumph. And it might be. But this feeling of success is tempered by the tragedy of Timberwolf Mountain, now displayed so plainly in front of you. Sure, there were pieces of the puzzle scattered along your journey, but none of them punctuated the disaster so succinctly. And yet, on Great Bear, we need to live in the now. We need to take what our path gives us to continue our story and pass it on so that others may learn to survive. So it's with a heavy heart that I reflect on our quest with a pensive cup of coffee. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, everyone. I want to give a special thanks to all of my regular viewers for a great year and your continued support. Seriously, it really means a lot to me. I have some new ideas for 2026, a little more involved, a little more educational, and I'm really excited to put it out there for you. And I'll even give you a little hint for sticking around to the end. Beers and video games and how they're made. So for the last time in 2025, like and subscribe and ring-a-ding that thing to stay up to date whenever I drop a video. You can follow me on Blue Sky or check out my Bandcamp in the description below. And don't forget to tell me about your favorite shelters in the comments. I want to wish everybody a great day. Stay safe. Happy holidays, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ocean out here.
like the ocean out. It's my favorite time machine. Your eyes died with me. I look back inside this room with my body.
We got some sort of and we'll just move on.